Hi, I'm Bill Cousins, Solutions Architect at Endosys 360, and today we're going to take a tour of my augmented home lab, where we are going to interconnect Cisco Unified Communications Manager and WebEx Calling. So without any further ado, let's take a quick look at our networking setup here. Layers 1 to 3, we have a Meraki MX64 network appliance that's connected to a Cisco Meraki Power over Ethernet switch. This switch is logically divided into two realms, one of which is pure internet, where we have this Cisco 8841 phone that's connected straight to the internet through a Cisco expressway. So we're going to show hard phone and soft phone connections straight through an expressway to the CUCM. Here is an 8865. This 8865 is connected to the quote-unquote corporate internet, where it goes straight through the Meraki on the VPN. Up top here, we may or may not use this. This is a corporate laptop connected to the corporate network using WebEx Teams, or as we call it, the WebEx client. If we move around the room over this way, we have an Apple Macintosh, MacBook Air, and the MacBook Air is set up with the Jabra client. Again, this shows multi-platform connectivity. We're also going to look at using an iPhone. An iPad or any other soft client Android will work exactly the same way. Over here, the display is a Cisco telepresence unit. We'll talk about that in a second. But right now it's functioning as a monitor for a PC that's on the internet that functions in a home office environment. And this PC will also be connected to the corporate net, or will be also connected through Expressway, like any other home office user, non-VPN. Last but not least, I promised we'd talk about this. This is an EX90. This is an older Cisco telepresence unit, and this is also connected to the corporate network. Moving around kind of to my main battle station here, we have a desktop PC that's connected to the corporate network, but it's also connected to WebEx Teams, which we're going to take a look at in just a second. And we're also connected to an 8865 Cisco hard phone. And last but not least, kind of the cherry on the icing, is a Cisco, or is an Apple iPhone. This iPhone is connected to the internet and runs the WebEx client, WebEx calling client, as it were. So we're going to start out looking at some functionality. And one of the first things that we're going to do is let's go whole hog and let's see if we can call and talk to the Cisco Expressway client over on this side of the room. So I'm going to now bring in the telephone side of my WebEx calling, and I have a dial plan where all of my 4,000 numbers are on the WebEx calling network, and all my 2,000 numbers are on the corporate CUCM network for my dial plan. Of course, this is infinitely customizable. It uses both the call routing features of WebEx calling and also the call routing features, very rich set of in CUCM. I'm going to dial now. And if we look right behind us over here, I'm going to go ahead and answer this call. And we'll get some feedback now, because we're going back and forth. But as you can see, we have a successful call with the Expressway linked Cisco 8841. I'm now going to hang this call up. So let's look at the next aspect of things. And let's look at connecting the hard phone over here that's connected to WebEx calling to the hard phone that's connected on the network. And we're going to see some really interesting things. I'm going to go over and dial this phone now. And then I'm going to answer this call. And the first thing that we notice is a terrible feedback, which I will mute. But after muting the feedback, One of the things that's very interesting here is we do have the full video capability. So this flows from the CUCM, or it flows from the WebEx calling instance through the Cube router to the CUCM, and it preserves the video connection. Now I'm going to hang that call up, and we're going to do exactly the same thing the other way. So now I'm going to call the WebEx calling client. And we notice if we move over here that it's ringing on both the hard phone and also the soft client. And in answering, I'm going to get exactly the same capability. So from my soft client, my WebEx universal client, I've got full video connectivity with the hard phone on CUCM. So that alone is pretty cool, the fact that we can connect both of those. Now let's look at some of the other fun bits and pieces. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Mr. Macintosh here. And Mr. Macintosh is running the Jabber client right now. The delightful thing is this is going through an expressway. So I'm going to go ahead and connect. And we're getting exactly the same functionality. I'm going to go ahead and answer here on the hard phone. And I'm going to silence the feedback loop. And I'll hang up the call because I don't want to subject us to too much feedback. But one thing notice, again, we have the full video experience, the full audio experience. Voicemail is functional. Really, we have a fully integrated telephony solution. Some of the last things I'm going to do is I'm now going to go and do something kind of way advanced. And I'm going to use the WebEx client on this iPhone. And let's see if we can ring up the EX90 over here. So I'm now answering through a Cisco EX90, getting a terrible feedback loop, just as we would expect. Let me mute both ends. And we've got the full functionality, again, of the iPhone, dialing into the corporate network, and calling a Cisco desktop telepresence unit. And this will work with any CUCM registered desktop. This will work with any CUCM registered room system. And of course, it works the other way in that a WebEx registered room system will work just great too. Last but not least, we're going to move over here to the computer. And I'm going to use this EX90 to dial out. And I'm going to dial my WebEx calling instance. And I'll go ahead and answer this on the hard phone, just for hoots. And the first thing I notice, apart from the usual terrible feedback, which I'll silence by mute, is that, again, we've got the fully functional video experience over here on both sides. Now I'll go ahead and unmute, hang that up. Last but not least, we'll look at the WebEx client here, and I'm going to go right back to where we started, and I'm going to use the WebEx client here to call this Cisco phone on the expressway. Now you can't hear it right now, but that's because I'm on a headset, but that is fully functional. We have fully functional audio connection as well. So I want to thank you for taking some time to hang out with me today in my augmented home lab, knowing that this basically captures all the functions of a corporate lab. Thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.